Have you ever woken up from a dream that felt so real, so vivid, and then within seconds, it's gone? Like you can almost still feel it slipping away, but no matter how hard you try, it just dissolves. And what's strange is this. While you're dreaming, it doesn't feel forgettable at all. It feels like a full experience, a place you were actually in. So the question is, why does your brain erase it so fast? Because it turns out dreaming isn't just bad memory. It's something deeper happening in how your brain is working while you sleep. And once you understand that, it changes how you see every dream you've ever had. Let's start with something important. When you're awake, your brain is constantly saving pieces of your life. Faces, conversations, emotions, random moments you don't even realize matter at the time. That job is heavily handled by a part of your brain called the hippocampus. Think of it like a recording device, constantly deciding what gets stored and what gets thrown away. But when you fall asleep and enter the dream state, especially the stage called REM sleep, things change dramatically. Your brain is still active. In fact, it's almost as active as when you're awake. But the systems that organize memory? They don't work the same way. It's like your brain is running a movie without pressing the save button. So you can have the most detailed, emotional, bizarre experience, and your brain simply doesn't file it away like a normal memory. But that's only part of it. There's something even more interesting happening chemically. During REM sleep, the brain lowers certain chemicals that are essential for forming stable memories. One of them is norepinephrine, which is heavily involved in attention and memory consolidation. When that chemical drops, your brain becomes less focused on storing experiences and more focused on generating them. So instead of recording the dream, your brain is basically just living it without preserving it. That's already strange enough, but here's where it gets even more fascinating. Most of your dreams happen in a state where your brain is disconnected from the normal systems that link experiences into long-term memory. So even if the dream feels emotional, meaningful, or intense, it doesn't get structured in a way that your waking mind can easily retrieve later. It's not stored like a story. It's more like scattered fragments floating in temporary space. And when you wake up, they start evaporating immediately. That's why you can sometimes wake up thinking, I just had something important, and then it's gone before you can even grab it. But there's another layer to this that people don't usually think about. Your brain isn't just failing to store dreams, it might actually be actively overwriting them. The moment you wake up, your brain switches modes. It shifts back into logic, time awareness, identity, planning, and that waking state starts flooding over the dream state almost instantly. New sensory input, light, sound, awareness of your body, all of that begins to replace whatever fragile dream traces were still there. It's like trying to remember something written in fog while someone turns on a fan right in front of it. And this is why dreams feel so slippery. But here's something even more interesting. Not all dreams disappear equally. Some people remember dreams more often than others, and it's not random. If you wake up during or right after REM sleep, your chances of remembering a dream increase dramatically, because the dream is still active in your short-term awareness. But if you sleep through that stage and wake up later, the brain has already moved on. The dream never gets a chance to solidify. There's also something your brain does that makes dream memory even more complicated. It reconstructs memories rather than replaying them. So when you try to remember a dream, you're not actually retrieving a perfect recording. You're rebuilding it from fragments, emotions, and guesses. And that's why dream memories change so quickly. You think you remember it, but the next time you recall it, it's slightly different. Sometimes even completely different. Your brain is filling in the gaps without telling you. And this is where things get really strange. Because sometimes you don't just forget dreams. You invent versions of them after waking up. A detail you're unsure about gets replaced with something that feels right. A missing piece gets filled in automatically. And over time, the dream becomes more like a story your brain agreed on, rather than something that actually happened in full. So in a way, dreams are some of the least stable memories your brain can produce. But that raises a bigger question. If dreams are so unstable, why do they feel so real while we're in them? That's because the emotional and sensory parts of your brain are still fully active during dreaming. The amygdala, which processes emotion, is often highly active. That's why dreams can feel intense, scary, or deeply meaningful. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logic, skepticism, and questioning reality, is less active. So while you're dreaming, you don't usually stop and think, wait, this doesn't make sense. You just accept it. A city in the sky? Normal. Talking to someone who doesn't exist? Makes sense. Time behaving strangely? Sure. It's only when you wake up that your logical brain kicks in and says, none of that was real. And by then, the memory is already fading. Now here's something a lot of people find surprising. You actually dream every night, multiple times, even if you don't remember any of it. The difference isn't whether you dream. It's whether your brain decides to hold on to it long enough for you to notice. And most of the time, it doesn't. Because from your brain's perspective, dreams might not be important information. They don't help you survive in the same way real-world experiences do, so they get treated as low priority. But occasionally, something changes that balance. Stress, unusual sleep patterns, or even just waking up at the right moment can make a dream stick. And when that happens, it feels almost like you've caught something your brain usually hides from you. There's also something kind of unsettling here. Some scientists think dreams might actually play a role in emotional processing, helping your brain simulate experiences and process feelings in a safe environment. But that doesn't require you to remember them. The benefit might happen entirely while they're being generated, and then disappear without a trace. So you don't need to remember the dream for it to have mattered. And maybe that's the weirdest part of all this. We spend so much time trying to hold on to dreams, decode them, remember them, when the brain itself seems designed to let them go almost immediately, like they're meant to exist only in the moment they happen, and then vanish. But every once in a while, you do remember one. And when you do, it can feel strangely important, even if it makes no sense. Maybe that's because it gives you a glimpse into a version of your mind that doesn't follow rules, doesn't think in language, doesn't care about logic, just pure experience. And then it slips away again, almost like it was never meant to stay.